Okay, I was gonna try to do this video nude, but it's cold today. So I do have the shirt on and the hat and everything. But yeah, this video is a day late, or maybe even more than one day. But as of today, I'm already a day late getting this video up. So we'll see how this goes. But yeah, this is a response to Prager University. I generally like the material that PragerU puts out, but this one really bothered me, and it was about Santa Claus. Dennis Prager said that telling your kids that Santa exists doesn't count as lying because you pretend with small children. You pretend lots of things with small children. And he said, I would want to ask such a parent, do you have a tooth fairy in your house? Do you have an Easter bunny in your house? He asked as if it was obvious that of course we would still have those. And yeah, there were two basic arguments that he made. One was consistency. You know, you still have a tooth fairy and an Easter bunny to deal with. What are you going to do about those? And the other argument was pretending. You pretend with your small children. Okay, well, let's deal with the consistency one first. No, there is no such thing as a tooth fairy or an Easter bunny in my house. My kids know that their mom and I get all of their presents, and they know that the Easter bunny and the tooth fairy don't exist. We tell them that these are fun games that kids in our culture play, but we don't actually think or tell them that these beings actually exist. The second one, pretending. Okay, when my 3-year-old runs out into my living room and says, "Daddy, I'm a dinosaur," Rawr! And he starts running around in circles, and then I start chasing him around in circles, roaring at him, neither one of us believes that he's a dinosaur. That's pretending. But telling my 3-year-old that there is a magical being who's going to come to our house one night a year to actually physically bring him presents, and my son actually truly believes that there is a magical man coming through the roof every December 24th to bring him presents, that's a lie. Pretending is when he and I engage in a fun fiction. A lie is when I'm actually deliberately leading him to believe something that is not true, something that is false. And yes, so that counts as lying. And now we get to the meat and potatoes of the video, which is why I don't lie to my children about these mythological beings. Tooth Fairy and Easter Bunny, there's not really any utility to those. It's kind of pointless. You could argue that there's something festive and fun about Santa, so let's focus on him. I'm a Christian, which means I'm a theist. I believe there is God. There's an overarching higher power that is, honestly, he's too big for just the word God. He's bigger than that. I mean, you think, you know, he is a God. Oh, you're thinking about Zeus or Aphrodite. That's not a god in the same sense as this being that I'm talking about. He's way more cosmic, way more psychedelic, much vaster than what we can usually conceive of when we use the word God. He's much bigger than that. So I'm a theist. I believe in a grand creator of the universe. So here's the problem with Santa Claus. You lie to your child about this magical, super powerful, bearded man in the sky who lives very far away. You can't see him, you can't touch him, but he can see you. He knows everything about you. He watches your entire life. He can tell if you're awake or not. And if you ask him very nicely, he'll give you nice things. Okay, so when your child is like 7 years old and you finally tell your kid, by the way, I've been planning this entire time to tell you the truth that I've been lying to you about Santa Claus your entire life. You're going to crush your child's soul, first of all. That's premeditated heartbreak. You deliberately planned ahead of time to break your child's heart and crush her soul by lying to her all this time, and then finally confessing to her, oh, by the way, everything you believe about this beloved grandfather figure in your life is a lie. It's heartbreaking. I remember feeling a deep sense of betrayal from toward my parents whenever they told me when I was a small child. And it took me a while to build trust with them after that, because that was a big deal. And then, so let's imagine you tell your child this, and then your child asks about God. Well, God is a magical, super powerful, cosmic, bearded man in the sky that lives a long way away from here. You can't see him, you can't touch him, but he sees everything that you do, watches your entire life. He can tell if you're awake or asleep, and if you ask him very nicely, he'll give you nice things. What do you expect your child to say? Except, nice try, Mom. Learn my lesson the first time. And I remember feeling this very keenly when I was on Twitter one day, and I saw an atheist say, yeah, God is just Santa Claus for adults. And that really, it cut deep, because he's right. In that, these two things can very easily become confused. And if you set your child up with this breach of trust, that you really honestly get this child to believe that this cosmic magical being truly exists, only for the child to find out that everything she believed about it was a lie, it's going to be really tough for her to take your word on a different cosmic magical being after that. So the main reason why I don't tell my kids that Santa Claus is real is because I want my children to be theists. I want my children to know the being that made this universe. I want them to be in touch with that higher power. And I want them to be able to experience that deep peace, that fulfillment that he brings to our lives. And I want them to be a part of the great physical resurrection that's coming at the end of the world as we know it. He's going to heal the world. He's going to make everything right. And he's going to make us right alongside all of that. He's going to heal us from the inside out. Our souls, yes, but also our bodies. And he's going to place us back on this earth as a new, healed Eden. That's his master plan. That's what he's going to do. And I want my kids to be a part of that. Because being excluded from that is going to be the worst part of existence. You would rather not exist than be excluded from that. When you read scripture, it's atrocious. It's horrible to be excluded from that. That's a whole other theological topic. People who are excluded from it because they decided to be. Okay, God doesn't pick and choose. He gives everyone a shot at this resurrection, and people who reject his offer are ultimately excluded, and that's their own fault. But yeah, I want my children to be theists because it's good for them. But also, on a less important note, I think that it's really, really good for everyone to be able to express gratitude with eye contact and physical touch. When my children open their presents and we say, oh, that one's from Mommy, my kids' faces light up. They run over to their mom and they give her a big hug. Thank you, Mommy. When it's from me, they run over and thank me. When it's from their grandmother, they run over and they hug her. But then also, if the present isn't, exactly what one of our children wanted, there isn't bitterness and resentment over it. Because our kids already kind of know, because we've explained it to them lots of times, that our money is a finite resource. There's only so much that we can really do for you guys. I mean, we wish we could do everything. There's only so many dollars in our bank account, and we have to work for every single one of those dollars, so there's only so much we can do for you. And our kids know that. So when they get a present that isn't, quite up to snuff, they're okay with it, because they understand there's only so much Mom and Dad can do for them. But if they think that these presents are coming from a magical cosmic bearded man in the sky with infinite resources, then if they got the green race car instead of the $800 blue race car, they might be kind of bitter over that. And then that's going to hurt them, and it's going to hurt us, because we have to deal with the resentment, and we can't actually comfort them completely because, what do you say to a child when Santa obviously could do everything, but he decides not to? Especially since he's not, a cosmically benevolent being like Yahweh. So yeah, here's a Christmas ramble for you guys, why I don't do Santa with my kids. Santa's fun, and I've told the kids not to tell other kids because I don't want that kind of beef with other parents. But yeah, they're not missing out on anything, I think. They have a great childhood. Anyway, hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. I hope you guys have a great New Year coming up. I really enjoyed noticing the solstice this year. The sun was very far south from my perspective. We actually had a full moon on the night of the grand Christmas celebration on my side of the family. And that was really, really nice to see. There's something really special to me about the full moon. It's a part of my calendar that I mark very specifically to watch out for. The full moon, there's just something, I don't know, special about it. I'm rambling again now. But hope you guys had a Merry Christmas, etc. Thank you, patrons. I'll see you guys in the next one.